Gotcha.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's the Thegameconomist, and today we're going to be talking about elemental infusions and defense. I want to explain to you guys why you see me using Dark Infusions all the time, right? And there's some great information in here, so I hope you'll stick around and listen to all of it. I'm going to be talking about first the infusions, how they changed, and then I'll be talking about defense, basically, for these infusions, for elemental types. So it used to be that most people took physical builds. You would have quality, which was basically refined, you had sharp builds, and you had heavy builds, strength. And the reason for that is because back then the elemental infusions weren't that strong. They gave you an issue called split damage. That's where part of your damage is physical and the other part is elemental. And the way armor works is when you hit your opponent, he gets to have the defense applied per each of those damage types. In other words, he was applying the defense more than one time because you were dealing split damage. So the physical builds were dealing more damage than the elemental builds. Then From steps in and they buff the elemental infusions, and now you can take whatever, you can go crystal, you can go lightning, you can go dark, you can go fire, and get pretty decent damage. Because since it's been boosted, even though you do lose some of your output to the split damage, it's still okay because it kind of breaks even with the regular physical build. So people started tinkering around with these infusions, and what they found was Chaos and Dark Infusions get really good scaling with Intelligence and Faith, which you can put points into both of those up to the soft cap of 30 to get pretty good returns, and then you could go back to whatever your weapon naturally scales in, Strength or Dexterity, hit the soft cap for that, and you're dealing better damage than if you had a physical build. It really comes down to damage. You get better damage on Chaos Infusions and Dark Infusions. But there's more to that, so I'm going to keep going. The next thing you have to consider is how defense gets built in this game. So I'm willing to bet a lot of you haven't paid attention, but when you level Endurance, that's your stamina bar, when you level Endurance, you get lightning defense, which means everybody in the game who built Endurance, which should be everybody in the game, gets pretty decent lightning defense off the bat. So lightning's going to deal less damage. And then you have strength builds. Anybody who has a strength build, and of course, not everybody takes a strength build, but anybody who does gets pretty good fire defense. So if you've ever noticed, Fire Surge doesn't seem to do as good against, a Great Hammer or an Ultra Great Sword. That's exactly what's going on. They built strength, and you're not dealing as much damage. Intelligence gives you defense against magic, so, mages don't do as much damage to each other. And then finally, Faith gives you defense against dark damage. So if you are using a dark build and you're fighting a cleric, go ahead and jump over to a chaos infused version of your weapon. Next, we're going to talk about shields. So a lot of the shields used in high tier dueling get 100% physical absorption. That means any of your physical builds, the majority of them, are going to deal 0 damage to the shield. This is pretty crazy because kind of this big meta evolved around the Black Knight shield, where you just use Black Knight shield and a straight sword, and you just kind of shut down whoever has a physical build to a degree. Depends on what you're fighting. If you're fighting like a poised weapon, 100% physical absorption versus a heavy something, it's going to be pretty effective actually. Even if it just means you can absorb one hit. The next thing you have to consider is elemental absorption on these shields. The most popular one, Black Knight shield, gets pretty good fire absorption. Also another popular one called the Dragonhead shield gets pretty high fire absorption as well. It's like 90. Another popular shield is the Lothric Knight shield, which you can infuse to lightning and get like 98% lightning absorption. So that's kind of 2 blows against lightning. You got the Lothric Knight shield, which is pretty easy to access for most builds, and everybody who took Endurance has lightning defense. So all of you guys who are big fans of the lightning infusions, I hate to tell you, but it's not a very good infusion. If you end up running into a Cathedral Knight Great Shield, go ahead and change over to a Chaos Infused version of your weapon. See, that's another one of the advantages that a Dark Infusion has. You can have 2 versions of it, a Chaos and a Dark version. They scale exactly the same way, so they're interchangeable. Crystal builds don't have that, lightning builds don't have that. So just another reason to go dark. Cathedral Knight Great Shield, particularly a deep Cathedral Knight Great Shield, will have extremely high dark defense, and you'll change over to a fire weapon, right? A chaos infused weapon, and then you have to wonder if he has a fire infused black iron shield. You might be playing a game where you're both hard swapping the whole time. The next thing I want to talk about is build efficiency. When you infuse your weapon to dark and you go 30-30 intelligence faith, you automatically get Tears of Denial. You also get access to Great Magic Barrier, which we've found to be kind of an interesting choice you can change into if you know you're going to be fighting a mage, because it counters Homing Soul Mask pretty hard in my opinion. You don't take a lot of damage from it anymore. So you automatically get those 2 miracles, whereas if you built, let's say like a crystal build, if you built crystal, you would still have to put points into faith in order to access Tears of Denial, and you definitely wouldn't have access to Great Magic Barrier. So it's just another case where it's better to go dark. You can change over to chaos if you need to, and you get access to 2 pretty valuable miracles. The last thing I want to talk about is when people still take physical builds. In particular, when they have to, like the Pontiff Curve Sword, you can't infuse it. The next one would probably be using the Leo Ring. The Leo Ring only works with physical damage, so if you want to have a Leo Ring build, you're probably going to be infusing to physical. And I think the very last option would be when you have a weapon that deals natural shield chip damage. See, the dark infused weapons will deal chip damage through all the shields, and there's not very good defense against that except for the Deep Cathedral Knight Great Shield. Well, with the physical weapons, you have a few that also naturally deal chip, so you can build those physical if you want, and they're terrific backup weapons if you need some way to be able to cut through shields. So an example would be the Reapers, the Man Serpent Hatchet, the Harp, I think is called, Harp Dagger does, the Shotel. There's a few of them. I don't know if I'm missing any. I'm sure if I am, you guys can correct me. So that is it, guys. That is why you see, I pretty exclusively use dark builds unless I can't use a dark build. It has to do with utility and damage. It's the best infusion, except for those cases where you're better off with a Chaos Infusion, which that's just like Dark Infusion's twin brother, basically. Is the Chaos Infusion, right? And of course, for a lot of the videos I make, I'm not going to show off each version, Dark and Chaos, because it would take me forever to farm both of those gems just for one video. Right now I have a video on how to farm dark gems. Maybe I'll leave a link down in the description or something. I use that method to get plenty of dark gems, and it just helps me get my videos out sooner. So yeah, it's going to be dark, and you're going to see lots and lots more dark builds. Alright, well I think that's everything I needed to say. Please let me know if you found this video informative, or if you want more videos where mostly I'm just teaching some of the ideas of the game instead of focusing on the gameplay. Yeah, let me know if you prefer that. And yeah, other than that, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
Really? Oh my gosh, you guys! I just want to thank y'all so much!